MashaAllah. Barakallahu fi. Very good. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulihil Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. So, first of all, sorry for this 5 to 7 minutes delay. The only reason this happened was because I had gone to pray. By the time I came back, it just uh, I we don't have the option of starting Zoom meeting between 4 to 4:30. So you can either start at 4 or at 4:30. So I chose at 4 because I thought I would be back by then, but just takes a little while coming back from masjid. So, anyways, Alhamdulillah, we uh, we have Alhamdulillah 18 participants now. Uh, so we discussed about schooling and the problems with the regular schooling for the I mean, all of you were there, all of you were present when we were discussing the problems with schooling last time. Were there some of you who have not attended last time's class? Problems with schooling? Okay. You had gone for Umrah, brother Sajid, I think so. I saw your pictures. I think you are, yeah, barakallah. But other than that, I think we really discussed in details of what are the issues with schooling. Okay, let me just brief it a little for to just start uh, this session today. We discussed that there are lots of issues with schooling. We discussed that how much time a child gives in school and the outcome that is given from school is not proportionate to the time that is given. Anyone remembers how many hours we spoke about time given in the school? Does anyone remember how many hours generally a child gives every day? No, full the whole 12 years. How many hours did we say the whole 12 years? How many hours? More than 10,000 hours. Yes. 1,000 hours a year is minimum, bare minimum a child gives in school. 1,000 hours is minimum that a child gives in school. And in 12 years, the child has given 12,000 hours in school. And we all agreed that a 10th standard student who has gone through school for 12 years is not ready for the world, because if he was ready for the world he would be getting jobs then. But a 10th standard student is not ready for the world. In fact, we discussed that a 10th standard student doesn't even know what he is good at. We already discussed all these things. We know that 12,000 hours given to school, it is not worth it. Okay. And then we discussed all the other issues. I discussed about socializing as a factor as well. Okay. Socializing in school, I think if we have this background, then inshallah we can move forward to seeing the solution. So first we need to know the problems. Socializing in school, what is the problem with socializing in school? Does anyone remember what is the problem with socializing in school? What what is the exact issue that is there? Same age group, yes. You do not see, the thing is, it is tiers, right? Like there is an like first tier, second tier, third, exactly. First tier, second tier, third tier, like for example, first standard, second standard, third standard, fourth standard. So when you see a child is going to a particular age group, okay, you find the children who are in the higher standard, on a normal basis they will bully the children who are lower. Okay, the lower class students are generally bullied by the higher class students. Okay, so and that, what is the age difference? 2 years, 3 years, which in real world is not a big difference. In real world, you do not, when you go out, you don't meet people only your age, right? You meet people at least, like you meet people 50 years older than you. You meet people who are 10, 12 years younger than you. So you have that kind of world. We don't have a world where we, so if we have this perception of these children who are older than us, they can bully us, and that fear is there, right? that fear is developed in a child of older people, this is not a very healthy socializing. Okay, when a child starts going to the real world, and this happens, I don't know whether you guys have ever faced it, but this happens that when you are used to the schooling system, you are used to this, that a person who's senior, uh you tend to get afraid of this person. You tend to get, there is a fear that comes in your heart. And then whenever you go to any new organization, whenever you go to any new place, you find this as an issue. It is an issue that you find. Okay, has this happened to any one of you who when they go to right after school, like after some time, okay, you get used to it because you have now been in the real world, but right after school, right after college, when you go to work, you find people who have been in work before you. It's still not as smooth as it would have you would have liked it to be. Okay, after some time you get into the habit of, okay, that, okay, we or everyone, that's age gap and all that. So again, this the whole pillar of schooling, one of the very important pillar people depends on schooling is socializing. But socializing by itself is not a very strong point of schooling. In fact, it is something that is going to take you away from schooling if you really thought about it. Okay, so a lot of questions arise about homeschooling children being not being able to socialize well. But we need to ask the question in the reverse form: what about school going children? Are they able to socialize? That's a very important question we need to ask. Okay, then we discussed what is the reason why these things happen. Child starts taking all the, like, they are trying to make everyone think the same way, keep the people dumb. Okay, so that there's a market and there is a supply of labor, cheap labor and market. And that's what schools create: cheap labor, very cheap labor, and as well as a market for any product. Okay, because when you stop thinking, you will buy anything that they sell. Okay, iPhone 12 has come without a charger, and you still buy it, right? Pay $1,000 for what? But you still buy it. People, there are crazy people who will go and buy. Okay, why? Just because it is the trend, just because everyone is doing it, we will do it. And that's what schools do. They create that mentality of this. Okay, plus the very important factor which I discussed last time was Islamically, the curriculum which is followed, and the person who's teaching your child might not be might in a way or the other try to influence his belief system onto your child. It not in a way or the other. See, the thing is, some teachers might do it intentionally, some do it subconsciously. Okay, teachers belief system is one way or the other transferred to the child. Okay, so if we are sending our children to a school where there are non-Muslim teachers, where there are teachers who don't have the proper akida, you will see that as a struggle in your child, that doubts and those things can creep up into the heart of the child. And that's a very important thing that we have to keep in mind. Okay, we have to keep these things in mind before we send our children to school. Okay, so the today's session is the solution. What is the solution for this? Now, try and understand this. Homeschooling is a very vast concept. Okay, and this is one thing we need to realize, that homeschooling has been the default form of schooling for the last centuries. Okay, or millenniums, where uh, the the world has existed. From the time the world has existed, homeschooling has existed. Okay, from the time the Adam alayhi salam was sent to the earth, he started teaching his children. That's exactly how homeschooling is. It is the father teaches the children, and the and then children take it and then they teach their children, and then the children take it and then they teach their children. So homeschooling is a very old concept. Okay, so we don't need to really worry too much about, oh, is this a very new thing? No, it's not a very new thing. Homeschooling has been for ages. Okay, it's been the default form of education from uh, a very long time. Okay, now what is homeschooling? What is homeschooling? That's a very important question. Is that one thing? Is it different things, or is it different for each and every person? All those things are very important questions we need to answer. Okay, but the question is homeschooling the solution for everybody? Before we start, is homeschooling the solution for everyone, each and every person here? Is homeschooling a solution? My answer is no. My answer is no. Why? Because before getting into homeschooling being a solution, we need to realize that homeschooling is a lot of work. We need to realize that homeschooling is not like sending your children to school. Trust me, giving money and getting work done is much easier than taking the effort and doing it yourself. Do you all agree to this? Just it's very easy to just give someone the money and let them take care of your child than you sitting and taking care of your child. Okay, so if you are not ready for giving sacrifices, if you are not ready for taking the brunt of it, it is going to be very difficult for me to say that homeschooling is a solution for you. It might backfire in a way that you will not. Yes, it is. Trust me, it is not easy. It is not easy. Okay, now I'm not trying to scare you all. It is not rocket science. It is not rocket science. It's a very simple concept. It is very simple, but there is the difference between simple and easy. Simple, I can just tell you today what is to be done with your children. Doing it is not going to be like a cakewalk. Okay, so but it is, it is one thing. Remember, one thing is consistency is an issue. I'll discuss all those things. If you are getting into this thing of homeschooling your children, remember that it is like, if you see schooling system is here, homeschooling will be here top there, like homeschooling. And this is the best school I'm talking about. So remember this: you take your child to the best school in the world, best school. Okay, that is going to be here. And homeschooling is way higher than the best school in the world when it comes to the results. Time and again it has been proven. There are been like so many researches done in the US with homeschooling children, because US has a very big homeschooling percentage. Okay, a big homeschooling crowd is there, which homeschools. Okay, 3 million, I think 3 to 4 million children are being homeschooled after this pandemic. I don't know what the numbers are, but 3 to 4 million children every year they are homeschooled. Okay, now that is a decent amount number. And we have seen, and I had posted an article on the group. Anyone had a chance to read it about Harvard? About Harvard, I will tell you about discipline. I'll come to disciplining. About Harvard, anyone read the article about Harvard? I had put it on the group. No. Yes. Okay, just go through the group. There is an article which was put which mentioned about Harvard. The homeschooling is the way to get to Harvard. Okay, homeschooling is the way to get Harvard. Harvard will give homeschool students some extra consideration. Okay, even though they have not put it as a criteria, but a homeschool child is given more consideration than a regular child. And it's not even that they give consideration. The child is way better than the regular child in all the fields. Okay, all these tests which are done, all these uh, olympiads and everything, homeschooling children are way better than them. Okay, now what is homeschooling? It is as simple as that. Before I tell you about homeschooling, I want you all to take a piece of pen and paper, please. I can wait for a minute. Please, all of you, take a piece of pen and paper. Please take a piece of pen and paper. Good. Okay. I want you all to write on that piece of pen of paper, why would I send my child to school? Like, to learn what exactly? What is the outcome of me sending my child to school? Okay. Just write the question. Why would I send my child to school? You may not answer it now, but write this question. Why would I send my child to school? Okay. Write down all the reasons that you think is pro school in that. Okay. When I say all the reasons that is pro school in that, if it comes to academics, okay, what subjects are taught at school? If it comes to socializing, what do you think is done at school uh, which is helpful for a child's development? Okay. Somebody mentioned about disciplining. Okay, I will speak about disciplining as well. Okay. Is it the degree, the certificate, like someone said? How do we get certificate? Is it the certificate? Am I sending my child to school only for the certificate? Are there any other reasons? Whatever might be your reasons, write all the reasons that I think this is the reason I would send my child to school. School is very consistent. Like someone said, we cannot be consistent. School can be very consistent, right? Okay. Now I'll tell you, homeschooling. Homeschooling is nothing but you take, you as parents, take full responsibility of educating your child. You take full responsibility. You are not shunning away from the responsibility. You are not giving this responsibility. You are not outsourcing this responsibility. Okay. I have spoken about this in the past. I have said a profession is nothing but when a large group of people decide not to do something, that becomes a profession. When a large group of people decide not to do something, it becomes a profession. By default, the large group of people, each and every person has the responsibility of teaching their own child. Each and every person has the responsibility of teaching their own child. Okay, can I repeat what? Profession. What is profession? Okay. Profession is when a large group of people, so let's say a large group of people, we have uh, everyone in the world. If a large group of people decides that we will not cook, a large group of people decides that we will not cook, so chef becomes a profession. Why? Because a large group of people is not doing, someone has to do it, right? and that someone becomes a profession. Sorry. uh that is called that is a profession. A large group of people have decided that they will not teach their children, that they will not teach the children. Okay. And that's where teaching as a profession has come and school as an institute has come. Because whose responsibility is it to teach their children? Whose responsibility is it? Who is by default supposed to take responsibility of educating the child? Parents. Exactly. Parents are supposed to take the responsibility of teaching the child. When a large group of parents have decided that we will not teach our children, somebody else will teach our children, and that's where the profession of teaching has come. Okay. Now, so by default, the position was that we had to teach, we had to homeschool our children. Okay. We had to teach our children. So homeschooling is nothing but when the parents take the full responsibility of teaching their children and they are not outsourcing this responsibility anymore, or not the whole of it. Not the whole responsibility is being outsourced to a third party, which is the school. Do you all get it? What homeschooling is? Homeschooling is you have taken the full responsibility of teaching your children. Okay. Now the question comes, how to homeschool? How to homeschool? That does everyone, or let's say, do you all have an experience in homeschooling? No one. No. No one has experience in homeschooling here. Okay, 4 months. Okay, 2 months experience in teaching. Yes, mashallah, very good. Okay, tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. Exactly. When the child has not gone to school, what are you doing at that time? Are you telling me that the child has not learnt anything till the time, till the age of 3, till they go to school? In fact, a child has learnt a language, a complete language. A child has learnt how to walk, how to talk, how to go to the washroom, right? How to eat properly. Haven't you all taught all this to the child? Is that not a part of education? Is this not all? Is this all not? And of course, uh, a lot of parents even teach their children alphabets, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, with where it comes only to the academics. Okay. Fatiha, mashallah, yes. You teach so many things to your child. You teach so many things to your child. So you are aware of homeschooling. You are homeschooling your child. Okay. It is just at the age of 3 years, 10 months, 4 years of age when you feel compelled that, okay, now my child has to go to KG. We have to go to KG. Okay. Now we have to put our child to the school. Can all of you tell me what is it that is taught in LKG and UKG which you as parents cannot teach your child? Is there something that is taught in the school in LKG and UKG? I'm not talking about higher standards. in LKG and UKG. You cannot teach your child discipline. Okay. Attention giving. Okay. Paying attention, you mean? You mean paying attention to your child. You should know English for that. Okay, no problem. Making friends. Get social. Time management. Time management. Very good. Time management. Okay. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. No problem. This idea that child will get disciplined when they go to work, go to school. This idea that the child will get disciplined when the child goes to school, they will be more disciplined than being at home. Making friends is okay, one of the issues, one of the things. Time management. So is a person, when they are okay, if you teach a child how to manage his time, okay, if you teach a child how to manage his time by himself, is that a better thing than, or you you take your child and you give exactly what is to be done, so where you don't give any freedom to the child to choose their own thing. So when I say disciplining, right, okay, all right, I get all these points, I get all these points. Okay, my question about disciplining is, when we send our children to school, the the control of their own time is not there anymore. Someone else is deciding when the child is going to do what exactly. Okay, it might look like it is discipline, it might look like it is discipline, but that is not disciplining. That is, like brother Sajid said, it is institutionalizing. Okay, you are, it's like you are controlling the child completely, and that is not going to discipline your child. That is not going to make your child do the same thing in their real life. In their real life, when a person is doing something, okay, they are not constrained to doing exactly same thing at the same time. Okay, unless you want your child to do exactly like that. Okay, uh, when we send them to work, when the child goes to work, even at work, a person is supposed to manage his own time. He's just given tasks. He is not given that, okay, you do this work from this time to this time, then you do this work from this time to this time, then you do this work from this time to this time. You are given tasks, you have to complete the task in a given deadline. That is all. A person who's working, he's supposed to find and manage his own time, right? Which doesn't happen in school. In school, there is no chance to make choices. Is there a choice given to a child that, okay, do you want to study maths or you want to study science now? Is that choice given? Is that choice given? So in the end, what happens? In the end, what happens? We are taking away that thing from child, and then we end up doing what? Making the child dependent on the authority to tell them what to do. Now this child is no more an independent person. He'll always wait for instructions. He'll always depend on others to give him instructions. Do you get me? Are you getting the point? It is always this, that uh, we are we are so conditioned to start thinking that way, no, no, this is the best way. This is not the best way. This is exactly opposite to what real life is. Real life doesn't work this way. If your child is going to become an entrepreneur, they are going to do their own businesses. When the child will do their own business, nobody is going to come and tell your child that, see, from this time to this time you do this, then from this time to this time you do that, from this time to this time do that. Nobody is going to do that to your child. We need to develop that thing at a very early age, that the child is able to take their own decisions and utilize their time, giving them the best value for the time. Okay. So now how to homeschool? How to homeschool? I told you all to write down what is it that you want your child to get from the school. Okay. There are two aspects of schooling. There are two aspects of schooling. One is the academic part. Okay. The academic part is where you have these 5 subjects. Generally, I'm talking about schools in India. Is there anyone who is sending their children to non-Indian schools here? British schools, American schools, anyone here who's sending their children to a British syllabus, American syllabus, or would be sending their children? Anyone? No? All of you will be following the Indian syllabus if you send your child to school? Okay. All right. Okay. Now, generally children have 5 subjects which are taught in school, in Indian schools. Okay. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking with the experience of Indian schools. American schools are not much different. There may be a few subjects here and there. But generally, this is how the 5 subjects are. Okay. First is the language, which is English. Then you have a second language. You have a second language. You have mathematics, science, and you have social studies, social sciences. Okay. You have language, second language. Language is English. English. Then you have social sciences. Second language, which will be Arabic, Hindi, Urdu, Kannada, whichever it might be. Okay. Then you have mathematics, science, and social sciences. Okay. Yeah, computer as well. Yes, computer. Generally, when I say main 5 subjects, to pass the 10th standard exam, you have to write these 5 subjects. To pass the 10th standard exam, you have to write these 5 subjects. Okay. Computer is an optional thing. There can be many more optional things that you can teach your children. Okay. Now, the first thing, which is the English language. First thing, which is the English language. Okay, I'll just give you a little background. I teach a lot of children. I'm a maths teacher. Okay. I teach a lot of children who are in 10th standard. I teach them maths. Okay. And I teach people from India, from the Gulf, and from India. So I have some students, online students, who are from the Gulf. I have lots of students who are in India. One thing I'll tell you all, one thing I'll tell you all, with my experience, you give me one child who is, let's say, 12 years old. Okay. Give me one child who's 12 years old. And this child has never studied anything in mathematics, anything in mathematics. All they know is numbers 1 to 100. That's it. Nothing else. They don't know addition, they don't know subtraction, they don't know multiplication, division, nothing. Okay. No algebra, no geometry, nothing. With my experience, I will tell you, if a child gives 3 hours in a week, 3 hours in a week for 2 years, 3 hours in a week for 2 years, within 2 years, the child will be able to write. This child who has no knowledge of anything, within 2 years, the child will be ready to write 10 standard exam in mathematics. I can guarantee this to you. 3 hours a week, in 2 years, the child will be ready to write 10 standard exam. I can say, I can take any child and I can make them do this, and they will pass very well, inshallah. They will pass very well, inshallah. This is a guarantee I can give you. And math is one subject which requires the basics. And when I say taking a child who has no knowledge and taking him to the level of 10th, you understand the amount of portion that I'm talking about which can be covered. Okay. I said 12 years old. You can take a 12 years old, and that 12 years old, I can take that 12 years old and I can take. A younger child might require a little longer. A younger child might require a little longer, but still that is fine. Okay. This I can say with a guarantee. Now, if math requires that much time, what about other subjects? You think social science requires that much time? Do you think uh, science requires that much time? No, not at all. The other subjects will not even require that much time. So any child who has no knowledge of anything, and you take that child and you teach them 15 hours a week, dedicated 15 hours a week, in 2 years, they will be ready to write 10 standard exam. This is my guarantee to you all. This is my guarantee to you all. When it comes to academics, that is how much time is wasted in the school. That's what I'm trying to say. The amount of time that is wasted in the school is crazy. 15 hours a week is good enough for a child to do 5 subjects, and in 2 years to be ready and prepared for a 10 standard exam. Okay. You all don't believe me? Is it hard to believe? Is it hard to believe what I'm saying? You all, you can see this by yourself. I don't have any book. 3 hours per subject, 15 hours for 5 subjects. 3 hours per subject, I said. I'll tell you. I will tell you. First, you need to understand that if you are thinking academics is a big burden, it is not. Academics should be your last concern when you are homeschooling. It should be your last concern. There are other concerns which are more valid. There are more valid concerns. Okay. Academics by itself should be the last concern. Tell me one thing. Tell me one thing. Children who go to school, how many percentage do you think, how many percentage of children who are going to school do you think do not take tuitions? What is the percentage of children who are going to school do not take tuitions? 10%. That means, let's say even if you save 40%, you still have a majority which is 60%. And I know for a fact, I am a teacher, I am a tuition, I do give tuitions, so I know this, that as a majority of students, they do not study anything in the school. And generally school tuition will be 2 hours a day. Whatever they study in the school only, in the tuition only, 2 hours. And they prepare 10 standard forgetting everything, so they don't have anything in the mind. Everything that they have studied till ninth have forgotten. Okay. And that 2 hours of tuition every day, they end up passing or scoring good marks or doing whatever. Most of the students pass 10 standard that way. Okay. Now, how to work out practically? First thing, you understand that if it comes to academics, you have unlimited resources online. Unlimited resources online to teach your children. In today's time, a lot of schools are using these resources to teach their children. A lot of schools are using these resources. How many of you have heard of Khan Academy? Khan Academy. Heard of Khan Academy? Khan Academy is there. Okay. Khan Academy, if you go to see, they have they even have chapter wise. For Indian syllabus, they have chapter wise resources to teach your child anything and everything that you want. And if you think that teaching is very difficult for you, that you cannot teach your child maths or science or any other subject, you can always take help from tuitions, right? You can come to me. I'll happily take the fees. I'll happily take the fees. It's Wafiqum Barakallah. It's as simple as that. When you send your child to school, if the child is not able to learn in the school, what do most parents do? They teach their children at home through a tuition. Okay, if you don't know maths, you are not good at maths, no problem. Take your child to a maths teacher. Wali sir is there, inshallah. I can teach maths. Okay. So tuitions, you can always take help. It is not that I'm telling you you do everything yourself. Okay, you can take help from tuitions. Academic, okay, do you all now somehow believe that, or establish that academics should not be your concern when you are thinking about homeschooling your children? Are you all comfortable about academics, or do you still have doubts? Do you still have doubts that no, how to manage academics will be a big issue? Alhamdulillah, academics will be okay. What about socializing? What about, so that one aspect is academics, you should not think about, like, any day your home education is way higher than school in academics. That is as simple as that. You, nobody in their right mind can deny this. Nobody will be able to deny it. Okay, now when it comes to the other part, which is socializing, co-curricular activities, your child becoming a little more bold, and a child becoming a little more this and all those things, choosing good academics, like you're talking about choosing good syllabus to teach your child, curriculum. Okay, yeah. Okay, when it comes to academics, trust me, the the resources which are available are again way too much. And if you look at it from the perspective of a child, right, you will see that the child has many more options to learn from. The child has many more options to learn from. You can teach, okay, mathematics. I personally am a maths teacher, so I know there is something called as Singapore maths. If you all want to write it down, Singapore maths, sorry. Singapore maths is way superior than any other maths which is taught in India. This is my personal, I have seen personally the books of Singapore maths. Okay. So you as homeschoolers need not worry about what is being taught in the Indian schools in 7th standard and 8th standard. You can take Singapore maths and teach your child Singapore maths. It is way better, way stronger. Like in all over the world, Singapore maths is considered as one of the best syllabuses to teach your child maths. So you have that kind of flexibility to teach your children. Okay, that kind of flexibility to teach your children. And a child who has learned through Singapore maths can any day do any problems or anything from any other topic. The same, you can teach English. You can teach English, which is the best available in the world. You can teach your child the best curriculum which is available in the world. You can teach your child. That flexibility will not be available in the schools. Okay, now when it comes to the non-academic part, the non-academic part the non-academic part, which is, okay, with academics there is a concern about certificates. How many of you think that certificate is a big issue? What will we do about certificates? Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. There are lots of ways of fixing this issue. There are lots of ways of fixing this issue. In India, there is a very good option. Although a lot of parents don't like it, but there is a very good option called as NIOS. NIOS. Okay. A lot of parents don't like it. And I'll tell you why they don't like it. There are certain issues with NIOS which I agree with the parents. But if you are looking at a 10th standard student, a 10th standard student, if they write the NIOS exam, the syllabus is as good as a CBSE board. Okay. The NIOS syllabus is as good as CBSE board. There are management issues with NIOS. When I say management issues with NIOS, it means they are very bad at uh, like, you know, handling issues. If you have let's say some problems with the certificates, you did not get the certificates on time, all those things, they are very late. They take the exam is very late. By the time the child's exam gets over, admissions in the schools have already got over, result comes late. All those issues are there. These are issues are there with NIOS. But it gives you the flexibility of not sending your child to school. That's the first thing. Second thing is, you can choose the subjects that your child write the exam. There are 34 to 35, I think 35 or 40 subjects, something like that. Your child can choose 5 subjects, any 5 subjects out of the 40 subjects, and can write the exam. Okay. Third thing is, they can even divide the exams. So the child can divide the exam, like they can write one exam in October, one exam in March. Half of the exams they can write in October, half of the exam they can write in March, and it will not affect the certificate. In the end, they get one certificate saying all the exams are written. It's like one mark sheet and this. Plus, almost all the colleges except NIOS 10th standard. Okay. For 11th and 12th. So if you want to send your child to 11th and 12th, NIOS is accepted almost by all the colleges. And if you give enough donation, any college will take your child. So there is no issues with getting admissions. We see a lot of students, they get admission. Okay. 11th and 12th. In the long run also, uh, it is not going to affect your child's career or anything much. Why? Because remember this, academics is going to be only one part of your child's CV. Okay. We will come to the non-academic benefits, which are way higher in homeschooling than compared to the schooling. So NIOS is one of the options. Second option is to write privately. You can write state board exam. Privately, a child can write state board exams. Okay. Private state board exams. CBSE doesn't allow private, but state boards do allow private candidates, and your child can write privately 10th standard exam. Okay. That is an option. Uh, yes. Yes. Okay. After that, IGCSE British curriculum, Cambridge, EdExcel, they also have provisions for your child to write exams. Okay, so your child, no, NIOS needs nothing. NIOS only needs your child to be age of 14 or 15 years. At the time of writing exam, the child should be 15 years of age. That is it. You only have to show birth certificate, and with birth certificate, whatever, birth certificate, Aadhaar card, ration card, to prove your child's age. There is no certificate before that required whatsoever. There is no certificate required in NIOS. Nothing. Nothing. Okay, so that is one biggest benefit of NIOS. Only the thing is your child has to be 15 years of age. That is it. And they can write NIOS exam. Okay, so academically, and then you have British syllabus also allows you to take exam through, either through some international schools. You can go to some international schools and you can speak to these international schools and tell them that you are homeschooling your child. They will charge a fees, and they take the fees, and they will let your child sit and write the exam. So through the school you can write the exam. Okay, British syllabus, that O levels, okay, which is called as IGCSE O level. Okay, yes, I will tell you. Then British schools, there is British Council in India, British Council in Kolkata. In Kolkata, you have to take your child to Kolkata, and there they can write exam in the British Council. Okay, they allow homeschoolers to write exam. British Council allows homeschoolers to write exam, and they also have a lot of flexibility where you can write one exam 1 year, then the next exam next year, and all those things. There are a lot of flexibility that British Council allows. And then you will have your child writing A level, O level exam. Okay, so O level, you know how much people pay for O levels. O levels are very expensive exams. Okay, you can get that also for your child. Okay, children writing NIOS can get into medical as well. They can get into medical, they can get into medicine. There is no problem whatsoever. Bona fide certificate, I don't know what you mean by bona fide certificate. There is something called as migration certificate, which is provided by NIOS. NIOS gives you migration certificate, and that is accepted by almost all the colleges. All the colleges accept migration certificate. There is migration certificate which all the colleges accept. Okay, all the colleges accept migration certificate. TC, it is called transfer certificate. Okay, for 12th standard, so at least let I'm saying what I'm saying is for 10th standard you can get all these things, and whatever is required from the school, you can, what is required for admission you can get. 12th standard, 12th standard, uh for 12th standard you can always enroll your child in a school, in a college, if you want to. If it is so bad that you want your child to do a degree, you can always enroll your child in college in 11th and 12th standard. There is no issues. And at that age, like someone said, will the child will be able to, yes, the child will be better than children in the school, and they can adapt to the school environment. Okay, now children abroad, yes, it is same for them. No, no. NIOS, it is open schooling, National Institute of Open Schooling, where open schooling means it is open to everybody. People can take admission whenever they want. Okay, so NIOS does not require any of these. Okay, NIS does not require any of this. Yeah, which I know of children who are very young and they have written O levels. So I think British Council does allow you to write even if you are not at a particular age. British Council allows you to write the exam. Okay, O levels do allow you to write the exam at even at a younger age. Okay, the O levels can be taken at a younger age. Okay, so NIOS is the best option for most people who are looking to homeschool their children. Okay, NIOS is the best option. Other than that, private school options are also there. Privately writing state exam, state board is also an option. Okay, now the non-academic part, where it comes to disciplining your child not being able to make friends if they are at home, what will they do all day, all these things. If you if you really work it out well, this will work way better than school would. Sports activities, no problem. Sports activities, all those things. There is, first of all, you realize this, a very big plus point of not sending your child to school is that you save a lot of money. You save a lot of money, don't you? Do you all agree that you will save a lot of money by not sending your child to school? Do you all agree that there is a big financial plus point by not sending your child to school? If you do not send your child to school, okay, there will be, and like when I'm saying, if you are gonna teach your child, if you are gonna teach your child at home, at home, the comparable is the best school in town. You compare yourself to the best school in town. The best school in town, how much do they charge? 1 lakh rupees a year minimum. More than that, less than that? 1 lakh is minimum a year you will be spending your child to take your child to the to all those things, right? To the school. It might. It might. I will tell you. Okay. Now come to the point of whole sports activities, co-curricular activities, this and that. If you are gonna save a huge chunk on not sending your child to school, can you easily use that money and enroll your child into any of the programs, any of the sports programs, any of these things? You can take your child and enroll them, get them coached. Okay, there are evening, like if you want your child to play football, take them to a football club, enroll them in a football club. All those things are very much possible, right? You still have that option. And just because you have saved money and you are saving so much of your child's time, you can still use that money and take them to the football club, let them do whatever they want there. When it comes to socializing, take your child with you to whoever you want to meet, whoever you want your child to meet. Why should a child socialize with children his age? Let you talk to your child. It's a very big conversation, like I said, it happens. Take your child in gatherings where you are going and teach your child how to socialize. When you're teaching your child other things, why can't you teach your child how to socialize also? You have family, you have friends. No, no, it will not make dependent on the parent. When I say take your child to socializing, yes, you can take, amazing idea. Take your child to orphanages and old age homes. Let them meet people, let them manage people. And when I say, when you take your child and let them socialize with you, you are not going to overlook what the child is doing. Let them meet people different ages. There are a lot of ways of teaching your child how to socialize. Okay. Plus, when I said, how many of you attended the first workshop, which was economic future of your child? Economic future of your child. What did I say about what should a child do? Anyone remembers? What should you do for the economic future of your child? I believe that's the main concern of everyone. Right? Isn't that a main concern, that what will my child do when they grow up? Tawakkul on Allah, yes. That's one thing. But I told you all, in the end, you have to choose a mission for your child. You have to choose a mission for your child. Yes, choose a mission for your child. Bring them that age and take them, make it happen for them before they go to 10th standard. Why can't we do that? Why can't we do that? Like, amazing idea given by Sister Mosina, that take your child to orphanages, take them there, let them see these things. And then you realize that how the child might take that as a thing, that I want to help the orphans, I want to help old people. Give them that thing before they reach the 10th standard. Okay, that will by itself give your child an edge which no other child going to school will have. Give them the mission of your child, of their lives, before they reach age of 10 or 12 years. Give them that mission. And once they have that mission, then you cannot uh, like, you don't need to worry about anything. Just let them take that path. Okay. And if degree is needed, so be it. Take the degree later on, no issues. There is no issues with that. But with homeschooling, that flexibility, that thing is going to be there. And this is going to happen by giving your child exposure to different ideas, different people. Take the children and do all those things with them. Okay. Look at what I believe. This is my solution for everything. I'll just say that, and inshallah end it. It's already more than 1 hour 15 minutes. I'll just give you one solution, which according to me is the best solution for your child. From the age the child is born till the age of 10 years, let them learn to read, write, basic mathematics. Read, write, and basic mathematics from the time the child is born till the age of 10. And in that time, you expose your child to different things. By the age of 10, develop an interest in the child. When I say develop an interest, you do not need to choose the interest. Let the child choose their own interest, and you as parents will know what is good for the child. So by the age of 10, choose the interest of the child. And when I say interest of the child, the interest has to be linked to a mission. Choose a mission for your child by the age of 10. At the age of 10, let the child get in touch with a person who is in that field. So let's say you want your child to become uh, to invent a car or something like that. Okay, something like that. So get your child at the age of 10, let them come in contact with a person whom you trust, a trustworthy person, and let the child learn under this person the real world skill. Even if it is becoming a mechanic, okay, let them become a mechanic, no issues. Let the child become a mechanic at the age of 10 years. Okay, the child already should know read and write and to do whatever. At the age of 10, take the child, give him a mentor. Okay, then when by the next 2 3 4 years, let the child pick up that skill. What do you think if a child is working on hand, okay, on the job, if the child works for 4 years, don't you think they will become an expert in that thing? Do you think that will happen? 4 years under a good mentor, will the child not become a skilled in particular thing, one thing at least? Yes or no? Perfect. Now at the age of 14, let them write the exam if they want to. Like I said, 2 years is more than enough for your child to write the exam. At the age of 14, let them write the exam if they want to. Okay, at the same time, they have now a skill with them, which is a real world skill which they have chosen, and they will be at a level much higher than anyone their age in that particular thing. If to move forward in that industry requires a degree, now the child can choose which industry to follow, what is the exact path that they are supposed to take, and they can do that. Okay, if it does not require a degree, if it requires the child to just start their own business, give them the money which you have saved over the last 14 years by not sending them to school. Give them that money and start a business for them. At the age of 15, if a child starts a business, imagine the kind of exposure, the kind of uh, potential the child will have. At the age of 15, the child will be owner of a business in which they have an idea. They have worked in that business for 4 to 5 years. And 1 year of, okay, 1 year of job is equivalent to 10 years of school. And 1 year of business is equivalent to 10 years of job. So the amount of education your child will get by working on the job and by starting their own businesses, you cannot imagine, you cannot give that kind of exposure to your children in any other way. This is my solution. This is what I believe should be the way your children should move forward. Get them into the reading habit at an early age, and when they are with that mentor, at that time they can read more and more about a particular industry. They will be way ahead than anyone else in that particular industry. This is going to be a success for them, inshallah. And then that factor of writing the exam and all, there is no need to worry about it. There is no need to worry about it. Who here works in IT? Brother Sajid, I know. Anyone else know someone who works in IT here? Anyone else here works in IT? Okay. Do you all know that each and every field in IT has a certification? Like, for example, if you're learning Java, right? For example, Java has OCJP, right? Oracle Certified Java programmer. Same way, I think SAP has its certification, right? Each and every networking has their own certification. You know, the industry gives much more value to these certifications, which are real time certification, than degrees. A person who has a degree, they will go and get this certification in the end. So if your child is in a particular industry, if he did not get the degree, he can always go and get the certification. And that certification will give him a lot of value, lot of work, a lot of worth. Need not worry about what will my child do, what will happen to the degree. Degree you can get whenever you want. Your child can go to college at the age of 20, no issues. When they know everything about everything, they can go and get the degree. Anyways, like at till the age of 21, 22, all the children are still in school. So if your child goes 1-2 years after that, what is the big deal? Don't worry about degree. Don't worry about degree. Think about this as an option, and think if it makes sense to you all. Okay. Anyone has any questions? I'll take, inshallah. Any questions about my solution? Any questions? No questions? Alhamdulillah. Okay. So inshallah, I will stop here. If any questions, you can, I will open the group. I can, you can send me the questions on the group. If you have any comments on it also, inshallah, you can share with me. Start a homeschool. My children are being homeschooled. By the way, my daughter Mariam is 8 years old. She is being homeschooled. I have a 4-year-old daughter Khadija. She is being homeschooled. If you need any help from me, yeah, I can surely help you all, inshallah, in homeschooling your children, inshallah. Any questions or anything that is there, I can start. If there are people in Mangalore, if anyone is in Mangalore, they are more than welcome to come to my house with their children. If you have any questions, we can always have those things. Okay. Anyone is in Mangalore, they can always come to the house, inshallah. Do children have social anxiety? No, children will not have social anxiety. You have, see, my children travel much more than regular children. We travel a lot. So when you travel, you are taking your child to different parts of the world. Okay. And you give that exposure. Traveling is one of the best ways of giving your child that social exposure, if you will. How can you manage 5 to 6 subjects? It's okay. 5 to 6 subjects need not be done every day at home. Okay, I said 15 hours a week. Okay, so if you take 2 subjects a day, that is more than enough. You can come up with a solution, 2 subjects a day. Okay, how to plan the curriculum? Inshallah, let me see if I can make a class of planning the curriculum. I can do it for you all, inshallah. I will work on that. Okay, should we take each standard book? No. What I'm doing personally with my daughter, is I know what is taught in 10th standard, and I know what are the things which are required to be taught in 10th standard. And one good thing about NIOS is, in 10th standard, everything from the basics till the advanced, everything is there in that book. So even if you just teach 10th standard NIOS, that is more than enough. That is more than enough. So any basics that are required, you can teach your child at that age. Okay, so while teaching, if there is something that is required, you can do it. Okay, science and social. Okay, science. What if the parent is not good in math? No problem. If you are not good in math, keep a tutor. If your child is third standard, how do you go about it? Okay, if your child is in third standard, you can get, like I said, see, the main concern for you must be maths and language. If your child knows maths and language at any other level, science and all is not so difficult. And what I do with my children is I discuss science with them. We don't sit and study science. The only thing that they study is maths. My children, only thing that they study is maths. Okay, so if your child is in third standard, okay, you can take your child and let them be concerned with maths. Okay, I said Singapore maths, right? Take Singapore maths. Let me see if I have these books. Inshallah, I will try to share it on the. I do have some PDFs. I will share PDF on the group. Inshallah, Singapore maths PDF. Who wants Singapore maths PDF? Anyone wants Singapore maths PDF? Is anyone here interested in Singapore maths PDF? Yeah, okay. So I can share these PDFs with you. Teach your child using Singapore maths. Okay, language. There are some ways of this. So there are a lot of resources which are available. I can always give you these resources. Go step by step. Okay. What happens is maths, you might have to go step by step. So if your child is in third standard, you can take three. Singapore maths are 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5A, 5B. 3A means third standard. 3A, 3B you can take and teach your child. Then 4A, 4B, take and teach your child. You will be surprised how fast your child will be able to pick up. 1 year's Singapore maths book will not take your child more than 2 months to finish, 2 to 3 months. So in 3 months, you will cover 1 year's portion, Singapore maths, easily. You can easily do that, giving maybe 1 hour a day maximum. Okay. And give your child enough resources beyond your regular academics. Let them expose to whatever possible. Okay. Real world skills. Yes, there are many groups of Singapore maths. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop here, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair for your time. And inshallah, if you have any questions, you can take it. Hopefully, this was a fruitful session. Hopefully, it helped you all in some way or the other. If you have any questions, I'll open the group for open question answers. If you have any questions, you can open the group, inshallah. Okay. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.